I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely, and this is the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. I'm taking the taboos of menopause and peri-menopause and bringing light to the dark. No bullshit, no shame. It's time for us to gain a new paradigm in female health, out with the old and in with the new, and I'm bringing fresh perspectives from someone in the arena. I've been practicing women's health for nearly 20 years, and I'm spilling the tea on what it means to live at midlife, knowing that the best is yet to come. I'm sharing my Gen X approach to living through this transition. Sassy, a bit sweary, and always honest. Tactical tips and instantly usable information is my aim. I hope to make you laugh and that you learn something new that helps you embrace the change. Together, we bring power to the peri. Onward to the podcast. Hello, listeners. I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely, and this is the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. And I have to say, what a pleasure this conversation was. It's not every day that you get to interview your bestie for your own podcast, and today is that day for me. I am thrilled to introduce to you Dr. Vanda Corbett, who is a Canadian-born wellness professional based in Dubai, holding a doctorate in chiropractic and a master's of science in positive psychology. After a career-ending wrist injury, she shifted her focus from 20 plus years of clinical practice to empowering others through holistic health, positive psychology, and mind-body healing. Through her YouTube channels, ebooks, and podcast appearances, she shares affirmations, somatic practices, and evidence-based insights that support resilience, emotional balance, and overall well-being. Her mission is to help others navigate life's challenges with strength, compassion, and a renewed sense of health. So that's the official bio, but let me give you the bestie bio. Vanda's one of the kindest, most beautiful, most intelligent women I've ever met. So really, it's my pleasure for you to get to know her through this conversation we had today. Now, all this bestie talk aside, we're talking about a very real issue for women in reproductive years and certainly perimenopause, and that is adenomyosis. Adenomyosis is a pathology of the uterus that causes extreme pain for women related to their menstrual cycle. Now, I'll break that down more for you, but as Vanda says, adenomyosis is called the evil twin to endometriosis, which there's a lot more familiarity with endometriosis. So one of those things that can go sideways with the uterus that's not much talked about, that's not all that well understood, and that there's not great treatments for. Basically, she was given the option to suffer or lose her uterus. And she'll tell you why losing her uterus wasn't really an option for her. So it's a great story. It has a happy ending, and it's chock full of useful resources for you if you're someone who suffers with excessive bleeding, with the menstrual cycle, excessive clotting, excessive pain. Listen in. There'll be something here for you. And check the show notes. We're putting a bunch of links, etc., for you in the show notes because Dr. Vanda and I don't feel for 1 second that there should be another woman that suffers, especially when we have good options for women's uterine pain. Today's conversation is a casual talk between two women who know each other really well and a useful conversation between two healthcare providers that care deeply about women's health. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Dr. Vanda Corbett on the subject of adenomyosis. Welcome to the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely, and today I am thrilled to introduce you to one of my besties, Dr. Vanda Corbett. Dr. Corbett, Vanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Lovely. I am so happy to be here.
Well, guys, you're in for a treat because Vanda and I know each other very well. We went to school together 25 years ago.
No, like
And
2 years ago, Fiona.
no, was that it? Was that? Yeah, that's right. Because I'm 32, not 52. Right.
Right.
So, anyways, we're gonna have some fun today. Because when the two of us come together, you just never know what's going to happen. And I know you, as my loyal listeners to the show, will enjoy this casual conversation between women who know each other really well. And at the same time, we have a serious topic to discuss. And so I believe often that the way you can deliver information makes the biggest difference if you deliver it in a casual wrapper, if you will. And I would say this works really, you've seen this in your practice too, right? I mean, you know that if you deliver
Yeah.
it in a way that sounds like it's a pal sharing the information, it's so much more powerful.
Edutainment, is that it? Education and entertainment at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
take that. Yeah, in which case you and I are damn good at that. So let's go.
Just
LFG,
saying.
baby. Okay, so fun fact, Vanda and I started a podcast just about 2 years ago now. And so you can find those
Yeah.
episodes if you enjoyed this conversation. Are we still up on the platforms?
We're still up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The podcast is called OFFS, Oh for Fuck's Sakes. Favorite. See what I'm saying? You're going to laugh today if you're listening to us because, frankly, just looking at Vanda's beautiful face makes me laugh in a way that just opens my heart. So, anyways, you're bound to hear us talk about our shared profession of chiropractic, of skincare. We'll probably talk about Taylor Swift and the NFL because those two things are now synonymous. And I represent the NFL. Vanda represents the Taylor Swift side.
I'm a Swiftie.
She's a Swiftie. I'm a Kelsey. Anyways, but most importantly, I want to introduce you again to my friend Vanda, who has adenomyosis. And that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yes.
The AG1 you've all heard me talking about for so long just went through a major upgrade. AG1's next gen is here. It's the same single scoop once a day, but now it's clinically backed and formulated with more upgraded vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. The new next gen formula offers a more advanced, clinically backed formula that fills common nutrient gaps and supports gut health, all in the same easy, once-a-day ritual. AG1 has been a game changer for my mornings. It sets the tone for my day, helps me feel my best, and like I'm taking care of my nutrient needs in one step. AG1's Next Gen includes 5 clinically studied probiotics and additional vitamins and minerals to support whole body health. Now clinically backed with an advanced formula, this is the perfect time to try AG1 if you haven't yet. I've been drinking AG1 daily for 6 years now, and I'm so happy to be partnering with them. Subscribe today and try the next gen of AG1. If you use my link, you'll also get a free bottle of AG D3K2, that's vitamin D3K2, an AG1 welcome kit, and 5 of the upgraded AG1 travel packs with your first order. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com. That's drinkag1.com/Fiona Lovely to get started with AG1's Next Gen and notice the benefits for yourself. That's drinkag1.com/Fiona Lovely. Here's something that might surprise you. When our estrogen drops during menopause, we don't just lose protection for our bones and our brain. We lose estrogen's protective effects on our heart. Your heart is packed with mitochondria, the cellular powerhouse that keep it beating strong. But as we age and go through the stages of menopause, oxidative stress can damage these mitochondria, affecting our cardiovascular health in ways we're only just beginning to understand. That's where MitoQ's hero ingredient, mitoquinol, comes in. It's the world's first mitochondrial target antioxidant that gets directly into your mitochondria, targeting stress at the source. Studies show that 20 milligrams per day of mitoquinol in older adults can improve arterial function by up to 42% and support healthy blood flow, exactly what our hearts need as we navigate this life stage. Ready to support your heart where it needs it the most? Visit mitoq.com and use my special code LOVELY10 for 10% off your first order. That's mitoq.com, code LOVELY10. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So, Vanda, first of all, as I ask all my guests on the show, how did you find yourself a woman, a healthcare provider, a friend of the Dr. Fiona Lovely, talking about adenomyosis on the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast?
Well, first of all, you asked. So, so really, that's how I ended up here.
Was that it?
Just like that, here I am. Yeah. But as you are well aware, I was diagnosed, and I use that, I know this is a podcast, but I'm doing air quotes, diagnosed with adenomyosis about 6 years ago. And at that time, it was during internal ultrasound, and the radiologist who was doing the ultrasound, she just said it like, you just have adenomyosis. And as a healthcare professional, I kind of remember this word, but it was very like foreign. And I was like, what? Like, because it's not talked about. Endometriosis is much more popular and much more awareness about it. But fibroids. Adenomyosis is like, exactly, and fibroids, uterine fibroids. Yeah, everything. Everything else is a little bit more talked about. But they call adenomyosis the evil twin sister of endometriosis. And essentially what it is endometriosis, as most people know, especially if they listen to your podcast, probably, it's where the uterine, the endometrium, the inside lining of the uterus goes out of the uterus and goes into other places in the abdominal cavity. So, and it just proliferates and grows in random places in your body. It can grow on your kidney, it can grow on your bowel, it can grow on your stomach. Like it just, it kind of,
in your sinuses,
in your lungs, in your brain, it can like, it can go all kind of places. So that's endometriosis. But adenomyosis is when the same cells, they don't leave the uterus, but they go into the wall of the muscle of the uterus. So they go into the actual muscle. So and then that's when it starts to bleed and become bulky and heavy.
Hold that thought. Press pause for a sec. Just for those listening, the uterus itself is a muscular pouch. Now, anyone who's pushed a baby out, anyone who's had an orgasm or a menstrual cramp knows that. Those actions are all the same. And the layers, there are layers of muscles in the uterus, and they overlap each other. They crisscross each other. And so, of course, there are gaps between those muscles. And what Vanda's talking about is the endometrial lining growing in those gaps. Yes? Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah, it goes into the actual muscle itself. There's different types of adenomyosis. Sometimes it's more focal, so it just like it stays in a very tight cluster, almost like a fibroid, but it doesn't have a defined border. So that's kind of the difference. Where fibroids, usually it's more like a closed off, like round, not round, but you know what I mean? It's a closed off system, whereas the adenomyosis just kind of proliferates. It can go everywhere. So it's like focal, and then it's also diffuse adenomyosis. So it could be everywhere in the muscle of the uterus itself. How common is this? So I thought I was special.
Oh, you are, baby. You are.
I was like, oh, I have never heard of this. I must be super special. Like, of course, rare disease. But no, it's, upon my research, anywhere between 25 to 60% of women have some form of adenomyosis. So that is 3 billion people in this world. So the symptoms that can come with it are like heavy bleeding, really severe heavy bleeding, and severe menstrual cramps. Those are the two like most common I guess you could say, symptoms. And I mean, if you're a woman who hasn't had a really heavy cycle or, or severe menstrual cramps. But what happens is as we move on in years, it's autoimmune-like. They kind of classify it kind of as an autoimmune disorder. So same with endometriosis. So it's a progressive disease. So as you get older, and as you go through perimenopause, because it does tend to be estrogen based, it gets worse. Lucky us.
So, first thing I want to say is thank you for sharing your story. We're about to get into some details of your story, which I'm very excited to share because I know well that there will be women who hear your story, Van, and will understand that this is them and they need to ask better questions and demand better care. So we'll get to
100%.
that point of it, right? But the first time now, anybody who listens to the show knows I call myself a women's health expert at midlife. Menopause is my jam. It has been for 20 years that I've been practicing. The first time I heard the word adenomyosis was probably 12 years ago. So it was long after I was done school. And I had a patient come in and say that she was a woman in her early 40s, that the doctor had ordered a hysterectomy because she had adenomyosis. And I said, what the hell is that? Like, I'm over here thinking I know everything. I'd never even heard of it. So there's listeners of the show know you and I have talked about this plenty. There's so many blind spots in women's health, and that's especially true at midlife. And what I'd like you to talk about, please, is how the symptoms started to show up for you. Let's go there first.
So really, the two major symptoms that I had was really heavy bleeding. So especially my second day in my period, it was to the point where a tampon or pad would not catch all the blood, to the point where I had to sit on the toilet for several hours at a time because I would just bleed through anything. So that was one. And the second one was just a severe pain. So I really started to get severe symptoms about a year ago, about October last year is when I really started to get like severe symptoms where I knew something was not right. So like I said, I've been diagnosed with it about 6 years ago, and then COVID happened, a lot of a lot of stuff happened. There was no follow-up with healthcare. And then, kind of like I managed it. I was just like, oh, okay, well, maybe, peri-menopause. This is just how it is. Like, okay. And it was okay for a couple of years, but then it just came back with a vengeance. In October last year, I just remember like about 4 days before my period, and then the 4 days of my period, just excruciating pain. Like no amount of painkillers I could take. I mean, you're like me, we don't take a lot of drugs. That was just like, give me all the painkillers, like whatever you can. And I would just be in like a fetal position just for hours, just in so much incredible pain. And then after my period would stop, the pain would decrease, but there was always a constant pressure, like I called it like a 4 out of 10, just a constant pressure, nagging feeling in my uterus at all times. Like no matter what I did, it was just there.
Every day of the month, you mean?
Month, every day of the month,
okay.
throughout the entire month.
Yep.
And then when it got towards my period, I honestly wanted to die. Like that's how bad the pain was. And so then I started to obviously go to my gynecologist, saw another gynecologist, signed a gynecological surgeon, saw another gynecologist, and every single one of them gave me the exactly same option. They could give me opioids, so just really incredibly strong painkillers, or hysterectomy. That was it. Those are my two options.
And so for the listeners, Vanda is newly married at this point. You guys have been married for 2 years plus 6 months or so, 2.5 years, something like that, depending on which date we're working with.
I got married twice. It was great.
Yeah. So fun. It was so good. We did it twice. Hey, I did it twice too. It's just two different guys. Anyways, that's another story for another day.
Well, everybody should get married twice.
Save the money to do an elopement. Anyways, okay. So back to
that's what I did. I was in the Seychelles. It was amazing.
And how could that even be called an elopement? My God. It's just the most beautiful place on earth. Okay. So Vanda's newly married. Her husband is younger than she is. They've talked about having children. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I am 45. So
Okay.
I'm just on the edge of, do I start planning for my retirement or do I have children?
Exactly.
I
So
can go either way right now.
newly married and being told that you have to have a hysterectomy in order to cure this
Yeah.
problem. So these are the options that medicine had for you.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Those were
Crazy.
literally the only two options. And I was lucky, I guess you could say, because I was diagnosed before hysterectomy. So the majority of women have a hysterectomy and then they get told, oh, you had adenomyosis. That's why, you were in so much pain. So usually the actual diagnosis does not come until after a hysterectomy. They're just like, oh, you're in so much pain, we're just going to rip your organ out. Like that's kind of how it goes.
Which, we talk about this subject so much on the show, but if it was a man that had this problem, it would have been solved in 1,000 different ways. And right. So women's pain is normalized, and you have the lived experience of that. Women's pain is normalized, and solutions are thin on the ground.
Yeah.
However, through all of this, you and I are chatting away as we do. By the way, Dr. Corbett lives in Dubai. And I'm in Canada. So there's lots of chat that goes back and forth between the two of us. And you were telling me about what was going on. And what I can remember is after I interviewed Dr. LeBlanc in January, the Fuss Foundation was really when you were telling me what kind of pain you were in again. And I was like, well, why isn't anybody doing anything for you?
Yeah.
And,
it was to the extent, and like I think you told me about the episode because it was coming out in, I think, March maybe is when you mentioned it to me.
Sounds right. Yep.
And I was like, what? And I remember both of us were like, you're like, have you heard about this focused ultrasound? And I was like, what? And you're like, I never heard about it until I interviewed this lady.
No. And I'm referring to the interview I did with Dr. Suzanne LeBlanc of the Focused Ultrasound Foundation, or fussfoundation.org is how you can find out more about that technology. I interviewed her in January, and like you said, the episode came out in March. And like it was one of those things where you were telling me about the amount of pain you were in, and I was literally thinking, I get to meet all these cool people on the show, Vanda, yourself included. Not that this is the first time we met. This might be the first time you and I have had makeup on in each other's company in a very long time, however.
Been a while.
It's been a while. You look good, by the way. Look good.
Thanks to you.
Thank you.
Looking good, Dr. Lovely.
Thank you, Dr. Corbett. So I remember saying, like, have you even heard of this? And let me reach out to Dr. LeBlanc and her people to see if this is even an option. And you said, yes, please. I mean, I'll do anything at this point, is what I remember you saying. And long story short, I reached out, they reached back and said, yes, adenomyosis can be treated, but where does she want to go to be treated, kind of thing. And I think they talked about South Korea, right?
So yeah, during the time that you had sent the email to ask, where I can get some treatment, I went on the foundation's website and I was emailing every single possible person I could get a hold of. So South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and then also China in Chongqing.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Which you came to realize was the place to go.
So everything, there is high-intensity focused ultrasound treatment in many countries, including the United States. Unfortunately, when I looked up for uterine adenomyosis in North America, there's only two places. It's the Mayo Clinic and Stanford. That's it. Wow. And I was like, how is this possible? Whereas there's literally thousands in Asia that treat adenomyosis. So I know. Yeah.
So many times through all of this, you and I have expressed such anger at the misinformation and the blocking of information to take care of women. And for the listeners, you're going to get more and more angry. If you're angry about this now because you're one of the women that has it, you're going to hear our story. Yes, go on.
I mean, I can't tell you how many places treat prostate cancer, but besides that, so I just looked at Asia, but everywhere I looked, like the Philippines had just recently got a new machine, even Uganda has a machine, but everywhere that I was looking, everybody was trained in Chongqing, China, and I was like, well, why wouldn't I just go to Chongqing? that seems to be the place. So I just happened to go on their not very English, unfortunately, English website, but I kind of figured it out, and I sent an email, and luckily a beautiful soul named Mary, probably not her real name, but that's her English, not Chinese name. She got back to me, and yeah, within about 3 weeks, I was in China. Yeah, it was great.
What is high intensity focused ultrasound?
What is it?
Yeah.
How I describe it is, okay, so say you're getting normal ultrasound on your arm, right? Like a therapeutic ultrasound, they put the gel on, the sound waves go in, and it goes into the tissue and it bounces back. But it's like straight in, straight out. Yeah. Whereas focus ultrasound, it's like a half circle, like it's focused. And what they do is the waves of the ultrasound, uh, the old Ghostbusters reference, don't cross the streams. Yeah.
Oh, of
So
course.
the circle. This is how I think about it every single time. So when you have it's like a rounded bowl, so then what they cross the streams. So where the ultrasound actually then meets, it's between 70 to 100 degrees Celsius. Exactly, but it's pinpoint accuracy. They can control where the actual waves meet together. So they can control the depth, they control everything. So what you do is you have this large machine, and they do several MRIs and also real-time ultrasound, diagnostic ultrasound at the same time. And you lay on this table. So for myself, for my uterus, I was laying face down, and your stomach is in water. And then the waves come out, and then it's hard to describe, but it does not do anything to your skin. Right? It doesn't do there's no burning, there's no sensation, there's nothing to your skin, but they send the waves into your body, into your uterus. Sounds like magic, but they send the waves into your uterus, and they're able to see on the ultrasound exactly where the adenomyosis is. And then where the sound waves go together, that's where it's pinpoint accuracy, where they can actually fry and the adenomyosis and the tissue that they want to ablate and get rid of. So they can do it like a surgical ablation for this, where they actually go in essentially with a surgeon and they'll scrape the uterus. But the gold standard for treatment still is a hysterectomy. But this is non-invasive. Nothing is inside you. You're sedated, but you're still awake. They probably had to use a little bit more sedation with me because apparently I have an itchy nose. And I was moving a lot, so I think they cranked it up a little bit more. But I could still talk. I could still everything was where the waves go together. So there's no harm to any other tissue except for where the sound waves come together. And like I said, it's like a pinhead accuracy. So and then they just go around your uterus and zap all the little places of adenomyosis.
Wow. Was it painful?
Yeah. No. Not at all.
Did you feel anything?
I did feel a couple of times. I felt like the only way I could describe it would be like a pressure inside my uterus. And I actually felt it more in my sacrum than I felt it in my uterus. But I think it was kind of where they were on the back side of my uterus, because that's where I guess the majority of my adenomyosis was. But as far as the actual treatment, it was basically painless. And like I said, recovery time, I had it on a Tuesday. So they checked me into the hospital on the Monday. Like I said, Mary was amazing. They picked me up at the airport. They, dropped me off at the hotel. I then went and saw the pandas that weekend at the zoo. And they picked me up Monday morning and took me to the hospital. And then they did all the prep work. Honestly, the worst thing about the entire procedure was the fact that it's almost like a colon prep for a colonoscopy, where you just got to get all the crap out. And that's the worst part.
Right. And it sucked because you have to drink this horrible liquid.
You have to drink the stuff, and then you go to the bathroom 70 times. It's just if anybody's ever done a colonoscopy, that's the worst part. But then the next day, at 8 a.m., they took me into the theater, and yeah, it took 3 hours. It was quite a long procedure, but they were so thorough. And because it's a training hospital as well, so there was a lot of and I let anybody who wanted to be in the room for training or media, whatever, I didn't care. And yeah, so then they brought me back to The one thing that I didn't know that they had to do, but it makes sense, is they had to put a catheter in, and that was the only time I was asleep. So they knocked me out for maybe 2 minutes, and then brought me back out and put the catheter in. But I had no issues with that at all. And then after the 3-hour treatment, I was taken back to my room. I just fell asleep for 3 hours. I think they probably gave me a painkiller or something, but I was just asleep for 3 hours. I woke up. They took the catheter out. I had no issues. Went to the bathroom normally, fell back asleep. I woke up in total about 7 hours after I got back to my room. And honestly, Fiona, I felt amazing. There's no other way to describe it. I remember I was just like, like, what happened? Because I felt amazing. I had zero pain in my uterus. Like I said, I always had like this 4 or 5 nagging pressure feeling in my uterus, but it was gone, just gone. And I felt amazing. Yeah. So,
Okay, I have so many questions, but the first thing I want to say is I remember you telling me that the pain of adenomyosis comes from when you're having your menstrual period and the endometrium is growing. Actually, before your period, the endometrium is growing between these very tight layers of muscles, and
yeah.
so the
And bleeding as
pressure.
well.
Okay,
And
okay,
it bleeds inside the muscle as well.
dude, how have we
Mm.
not sorted this out for women?
I don't even know. So that's why they call it, they literally on ultrasound, they'll call it that you have a heavy or a bulky uterus. The minute you see that verbiage, you know you have adenomyosis. Because
Oh,
yeah. In my
wow.
vlog in the vlog that I did, I actually I had an MRI the day before, and my adenomyosis was like 5 to 6 centimeters. So that was the growth on top of my uterus, that my uterus had actually grown 5 centimeters,
Wow.
which is almost double what your uterus normally is without child, of course.
Yes, for the listeners, the uterus itself, if it's non-gravid, meaning it doesn't have pregnancy growing inside, it's about the size of a Bartlett pear. If you turn it upside down and drop it inside the pelvic bowl, that's about the size of the
Yeah.
uterus normally. So if you're adding 5 centimeters to that, you're adding, 50%
Yeah.
in width to it, right? And
Yeah.
then it's swelling and bleeding with your cycle. Because of course, that tissue being endometrial tissue means it's responsive to all the hormones that are doing their or they're doing their menstrual cycle dance throughout the month. Wow.
Yeah. I'm
How
just sitting
is
here nodding
how
the whole
is this
time.
not talked about? Like, my
I don't
God.
know. It's freaking criminal that this is not talked about more. And not only that, like it's just dismissed. Like people come in and they're like, I have severe menstrual pain, and it's just dismissed like, oh, that's normal. It's not fucking
No,
normal.
it's not normal. No, it's not. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are solutions oriented on the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. And so if someone listening to this wants to get in touch with Chong Ching, what is the best way to do that?
The best way to do that is uh probably to go through the fus.org. Is that right?
Yes, it's
Website?
fusfoundation.org. FUS.
Foundation.org.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is listed on there. I went to the HIFU, HAIFU. I don't know why they put an I in there. Everybody else just calls it HIFU. It's a high intensity focused ultrasound. So they literally just have a hospital. That's it, 32 beds. All they do is HIFU. And it's basically all they treat is uteral stuff. It's like one hospital for 36 million people in the city of Chongqing, but it's just one and that's all they do is just uteral high intensity focus ultrasound. And they have the training group there as well. So probably just to get a hold of them. I mean, on my YouTube channel, or you can send me an email and I can personally send you the email.
Vanda, there's a lot of people that
Contact with
listen to
me.
this show. You might regret that.
I don't care, Fiona.
Okay,
I will
okay,
personally
right.
send out every single email if I
Okay.
have to, because
Well,
I want women to have this information. Yeah.
So do I. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about I just want to make sure I'm wrapping up everything with your hospital experience. First of all, you documented this whole thing for a video blog. You knew you were going to do that. And so you
Yeah.
just basically flipped on your camera and recorded the whole business. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I love it.
And it was really cute because Mary, she saw that I came in with my camera, and I was like, I was gonna ask, I was like, can I like film some of this so people know what I'm doing? Because like, you know, I just and even I was by myself. My husband couldn't go with me because he couldn't get a visa in time. And I was just like, I'll be fine.
Yep.
I'm just gonna go to a foreign country by myself, just jump on
No
a plane and
bigs
go get
for a
treatment.
medical
Like, no
procedure.
big, no, yeah,
That I don't know anything about. Cool.
that I know nothing about. I know nobody in the country, not even in the city, nobody in the country. And yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, just go. And honestly, it was just blind faith that I just jumped on a plane. And yeah, just it really worked out well.
So you had, and I remember you telling me you felt totally safe. You didn't feel frightened about anything at
No,
all.
I mean, I'm very lucky. I live in Dubai, so maybe that has lowered my defenses a little bit as it being one of the safest cities in the world. But I would put China up there as well as being one of the safest countries in the world that you can travel to, as far as like security and all that stuff. So I felt there was zero problems at all. But yeah, but sorry for filming it.
Yes.
I actually asked Mary if I could, and she was like, "Oh," she's like, "Yes." She's like, "Wait, let me ask the media team." So then she came back about 20 minutes later, and she goes, "Actually," she's like, "we would love you to film it." She's like, "But could we film you too?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So if you watch my vlog, it's so funny because I literally have a media team with cameras and stuff, microphones, like following me around the hospital. So they're filming me and I'm filming them. It was very Inception. But yeah, as we're like doing the whole thing, and they were so sweet. Like I even handed my camera to a couple of the doctors. Like there is footage of me having the actual procedure. Like, you know, I'm sedated on the table, but Dr. Mosh, who's amazing, she actually picked up my camera and got some footage and all kinds of stuff. So by the time I left, every doctor knew how to work an Osmo Pocket 3.
Awesome. Well,
I was like, then you just turn it on.
Yes, it's so good. So just before we carry on with the rest of this conversation, where can people go and watch the vlog that we just talked about?
On, of course, YouTube. So I have a YouTube channel. It's called Just Vanda, Just Vanda, Vanda, and that's the name of my channel. And I have two videos on there. One is my actual trip to China to have the procedure, and then I did a follow-up video last month about how I'm feeling and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I've seen both of them, and they are both so useful. And I think I said to you, you need to win an award for that first vlog for sure, for sure.
Oh,
I know
thanks.
you put a lot of
A
work into it.
streamy. I don't know. It was a lot of editing, but I just, and I'm so happy. I mean, honestly, they haven't gotten a huge amount of views, but I have gotten probably
Not
3 or
yet,
4
they haven't.
emails. Not yet. Do your thing, people.
I'm on it. I'm on it, sis. I'm on it.
No, but I honestly, if anybody just saw this video and it helps one woman, like that's all I care about. And even I've had at least 3 emails, like from people from all around the world, one from France, one from Germany. They've just sent me emails asking me about how to get this information and where to go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
If it just helps one person.
Yes, absolutely. And this is what I always say. Look, you and I were raised by Oprah in the same fashion, right? So
100%.
as Oprah says, if this touches one person's life, you're going to save a lot of lives just by having this conversation. So that is something that's always in my mind, especially when I'm bringing a conversation that is something we haven't talked about, or is that particularly that it's vulnerable, or that these are taboo things. And, you know, I think a couple of things I want to say. First of all, you don't have to travel to Chongqing, China in order to have this therapy. Vanda got the teaching hospital experience because she was close enough to Dubai and could travel to China. I'm close enough living in Dubai, much closer than here in Canada or the US.
It's only a 7-hour flight from here.
Yes, okay. Where I'm sure it's much more. I actually wouldn't even know. Anyways, but you can go to fussfoundation.org, FUSfoundation.org, and see who in your country or in your area is offering this. Okay, so just to add another nugget of rage to this conversation, you paid out of pocket for this.
Sure did.
Would you like to talk about that a little bit, please?
Sure. I mean, I honestly, I would pay triple for what I did pay. So the whole procedure, not including, of course, flights or my hotel stay before and after, but it was $5,000 US.
For how
So
many nights in the hospital?
I was Monday to Thursday.
Okay.
But honestly, if I would have lived in Chongqing, I could have gone home Tuesday night. After the procedure, they would have actually released me. But because obviously I came from so far and I was by myself, they kept me 2 nights in the hospital. So yeah, but it was so 4 nights, all
5,000 US dollars.
$5,000 US. Yeah. So, but that included, I had an MRI, I had ultrasound, I had multiple blood tests, workups, like a gynecological exam, the treatment itself, accommodation. It was a basic room, but quite nice. Western toilet, which I was very excited. And then, and food.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah. So
your
it was
your
great.
vlog about the food is really cute, by the way. You're like, I think this is kanji, but I'm not really sure.
It was kanji. Yeah.
It was kanji. Okay.
And it's those of you familiar that don't know maybe what kanji is, it's basically rice water. That's what it is. Hot rice water. Sometimes
boy.
they mix some type of meat in it,
Right.
maybe some vegetables, but mostly just rice water.
Is like hot oats any better if you're not adding anything to it?
No, it's the same. I mean, it's the same thing. And after I did the whole like colon clean out, I mean, I understood why they just gave me kanji. But then after the procedure, the meals were amazing. It was amazing Chinese food. Like some of the stuff that I had was really quite good.
Okay.
But
so let's talk about the economics of this, which is, just to speak plainly, we are not associated with the FUS Foundation. Obviously, we are very pro Focused Ultrasound Foundation. Please go and follow them. Listen to my episode with Dr. Suzanne LeBlanc. She and I talked about the number of different things that can be treated with focused ultrasound. And that's the thing that's amazing. It's doing everything. Like you said, you even mentioned prostate cancer, but it's doing like there's even Parkinson's and Alzheimer's treatments. Yeah, which is amazing. So I asked Suzanne why it's not offered in the United States. And she was very politic about it. So you and I can speak on a different level. And this is not informed at all.
Insurance companies don't cover it. That's it.
No. Not only that, but it's inexpensive, right?
Yeah, it's so inexpensive.
Which means they can't bill $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 for that. The insurance. Okay, so here's a statistic that I love to share. Women's uteruses in the United States are the number 1 and number 2 surgery. It is C-sections number 1, hysterectomies number 2.
Hysterectomy number 2.
Yeah. So we're talking multi-million, potentially even billion-dollar industries.
Billions for sure.
Yeah. So when you consider how frequently they're done. And so there isn't really the interest if the decisions are being made by the policymakers, and the policymakers are the ones that get to decide what things are worth, then if this thing is inexpensive and it doesn't end up keeping you in the hospital system, it actually cures you, well, there's not really all that interest in
the economic benefit is not there.
No, it's not. And that is another level of rage, isn't it?
100%. So I remember the Wednesday morning. So after I had the treatment on the Tuesday, Dr. Ma, she's this sweet little lady, one of my doctors, and she comes in and she's so kind and so loving. And she just comes in. And the thing I have to say about the Chongqing hospital, the HIFU hospital there, is they really, really just cared about the patient. You could tell that it was just about the patient. There was no like, it wasn't an economic benefit, right? It was just like, how are you, the patient? And they really treated you as a whole. And she comes in the room and she's like, Vanda, how are you this morning? And I'm like, I am 100% elated. I am so happy. I have zero pain. I'm like, I don't know what you guys did, but I have zero pain and I feel amazing. And she's like, oh, okay. And I said, but also I am 100% pissed off. Yes. And she's like, and she just like stopped and she was like, and she kind of like put her hands to her chest. She was like, what? And I'm like, no, not at you. No. At the entire Western medical profession. This is absolute bullshit.
Yes.
Like, why did I have to fly to China, spend my own money for a procedure that's a quarter of the cost as a hysterectomy is, at least in Dubai? It's a quarter of the
Yes.
cost.
Yes.
Like,
It's probably a
and
tenth of the cost for the United States, right?
and yeah, exactly. Like I know here in Dubai, a hysterectomy is about 80,000 dirhams, which is I don't even know what that is. Maybe 35,000 Canadian, 30,000 Canadian, something like that. Whereas I spent what 8,000 Canadian,
Yeah.
roughly, or 5,000 US. So like it just I was just and she was just like, huh? And I was like, no, not at you.
Not at you.
I'm just so angry at the whole thing that like this is, and I thankfully, like I thank goodness, like I'm in an economic position that I was able to do that.
Yes.
And I'm very thankful, and I realize that some people are not.
Yes.
But it's just like, it's just so frustrating that just because I am in an economic position to be able to fly off to a random foreign country and have treatment. I mean, it shouldn't be my only option.
And this is why we're here talking about this, Vanda, because what's the point of having a platform unless you use it for good to help everybody?
Amen, Fiona. High five. Say it loud and say it proud.
Well, and it makes me think of the Dalai Lama is quite famous for saying that the world will be changed because of the Western woman. You've heard him say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got to talk. We've got to talk. And this is the thing I kept thinking, for the women in the US. So there are populations in the United States that do not have access to women's healthcare practitioners. Not only that, but now we have this whole, well, the fetus gets more rights than the mother business if a woman can even have reproductive rights. By the way, okay, I'm shit disturbing now, but let's just go. I mean, why stop now? I just heard that the US has posted the lowest birth rate ever. And they're surprised.
Women are just like, yeah,
politicians
they're
are surprised.
Politicians are surprised.
I'm not surprised at all. Okay, so Vanda and I went to school in the US, right? And what I said to my husband about this is, if I was in the US right now, there is no way I would be sexually active. It would be knees shut.
No, 100% duct taped.
Yes.
Like, no. Are you kidding? And that would be even married. Like the possibility of something happening in a state where you couldn't get any healthcare, God forbid, if something went wrong or like you miscarried or like, because 1 in 5, isn't it like 1 in 5 pregnancies miscarry?
Yes.
Before,
yes.
like,
I think so. I think it's even more than that, 25%.
Yeah. And it just, I mean, because, the
higher.
I mean, life is beautiful, but it's also, if something is wrong, innate intelligence takes care of it. And,
you can't access care.
Baby miscarries, right?
Yeah.
But you can't access care. God forbid.
Yes. Yeah. It's bananas. So of course, here we are expecting that same system is going to react to women's pain. I mean, if we can't do basic health care for women, we sure as hell aren't going to do pain management for women or being able to treat women's pain. So no matter what let's come back to this pain conversation.
I mean,
let's stop shit disturbing.
I was just going to say, like, hysteria and hysterectomy are the same for a reason. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, they are. So oh my God, I totally lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? I know what we were talking about. So I just want to finish this, just to wrap this up. I'm aware that there are women who socioeconomically cannot access what you were able to access, which means it should be available to all women, regardless of economic status. Period. Full stop. Yeah. Imagine if the world had women that were strong, that were sharp, that were pain-free. Now we're getting to the real issue, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. For those of you that can't see, Fiona is rubbing her fingers together, like taking over the world, like Mr. Burns.
Ladies, listen. If you're noticing fine lines, wrinkles, or sagging skin, especially during menopause, me too. Oh my gosh, me too. I have some exciting news for you about this. However, don't fret. Menopause can deplete your skin's collagen, speeding up aging. That's why you've noticed it all of a sudden. But here's the game changer. Vitale Skincare has built its entire line on the power of GHKCU copper peptides, a proven ingredient that signals your skin's stem cells to produce new healthy collagen. My personal favorite from Vitale is their restorative skin cell serum. I love how it rejuvenates and restores my skin from within, revealing a firmer, more radiant glow. It's quite amazing when you try it for yourself. Do you want to experience this transformation as I have? Please head to vitaleskincare.com and use the code LOVELY at checkout for 20% off. That's vitaleskincare.com. Because with Vitale, youthful, vibrant skin is just a step away, no matter your age. Anyways, it was you who said to me, and I've talked about this on the show before, but it was you who said to me, isn't it interesting that the skinny aesthetic comes up every time women get too strong, too loud? I was like, oh shit, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Nope. Oh.
I talked about that on my episode with Dr. Shayna Johnston, who is a family medicine practitioner in Victoria. And so that episode came out, I think, last September. She and I talked about it, and I brought it up saying that you and I had discussed it. And now you get to meet the amazing Dr. Vanda Corbett, who is the originator of this conversation. Anyways, okay, beside the point, I actually said to a patient the other day, I said, the powers that be aren't served by wise women who are strong and sharp and healthy. So let's defy them anyways. And the thing is, they're not even looking at us, right? They're like, oh no, those bitches are going into menopause. We don't have to worry about them. They'll be demented before you know it. It's like, really?
You know what's so interesting, Fiona, is I think I might have sent you a message about this, but I've had it confirmed. So what was so interesting is, the history of a little bit more of my health history, but I have psoriatic arthritis as well. And it goes like way back. And my CRP levels, just so you know, which is like the amount of inflammation in your body, is it should be less than 5, but really should be less than 1 or 0 is normal. But since about 2016, I've been between 15 to 35. I'm just like, I've had so much inflammation in my body for years. And with combination of a couple of other things this year, but the big one was when I had this procedure done in May, because it is, like we said, autoimmune-like, right? I got my CRP measured, and for the first time in 10 years, it's below 5. It's 3.5, which I actually went back the next week, had my doctor retest it because I did not believe it. And I thought it was a mistake. And sure enough, it is 3.5. So all I got to say is watch out, world, because the women are getting healthier and we are getting out of pain. And I mean, there is hope for us.
And this whole, we're all eating protein like we're carnivores and nothing else. We're lifting weights like crazy.
We're strength training. We are eating protein. 100%.
Well, and listen, the women who are listening to this show will be like, me too. It's like the revolution is coming, but they're not even looking at us. Right? They're thinking we're getting all decrepit and frail like our moms did, our grandmas did.
We're throwing kettlebells around in the gym. Like, you better watch out.
But we also don't want them.
Don't tell anybody.
No, because we'll come quietly in the night. Yes, exactly. See, I told you folks, we were going to be shit disturbing today. Nothing new here. Nothing new here. Okay, so let's come back to this. I remember you saying when you went in for the procedure, your period actually started the day you went in for your procedure,
It started that morning, yeah. It was my worst nightmare because it was like the one thing I was like, it was like the one time that you really can't do the procedure, but I hadn't started bleeding very much yet. So they were like, you'll be okay. It's fine. No problem. So they still did the procedure. Yeah.
Right. And you had pain going into the procedure.
Yes.
And when
I
you
had
came
pain
out of the
all the
procedure?
night before. When I
Okay.
came out of the procedure, it was gone.
And you were on day 2 of your period?
Yeah.
Day 3, which is the heaviest and most painful
Yeah.
day?
Yeah. Nothing.
Okay. And then I remember asking you, like, are you shedding clots? Like, what is happening? Are you seeing the side
So
effect of?
the next within the, so usually, because of the adenomyosis, usually about 10 days before my period, I get a lot of like old blood discharge.
Mhm.
And then my first period, because I had my period just starting when we did the procedure. So my next period was the one where kind of I had a lot of discharge come out. But it was not painful. It didn't hurt at all. Like, but it was just the discharge that was coming out. And then, yeah, that was it. It was just like a lot of like fiber. You could tell it was fibrous, like uteral material. But like I said, it didn't hurt, nothing. It just shed like a normal period during my period.
Hmm.
Yep.
Interesting. Now, this has been how many months since you had this?
I had it in May, so that is what, 4 or 5 months?
5 months. And you've had 4 or 5
Yeah.
periods since then? Tell me
So
about
just
your periods.
FYI,
Yep.
I have my period. I'm starting my period right now. Like as
Yep.
in will probably be start tomorrow.
Yep.
So if this was April of 2025, I wouldn't have been able to speak to you because I would have been in so much pain that I would have been A, drugged up, or two, just in a fetal position on my bed, unable to speak until my period actually started, just so you know. But here I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, now I've gone from 8 days of pain to probably 8 hours.
Okay. And
So
is
I
it the same
still,
level?
no. So I'd say that now I get like menstrual cramps right before I start my period, about 8 to 12 hours, say, before I start my period. And I'd say like they're moderate. They're nothing like the severe cramps I was having before, but they're still cramps. They're moderate in nature. I mean,
Not like
whatever.
yeah.
I can
Yeah.
handle 12 hours,
If they
And
were a
then
10 out of 10. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, if they were a 10 out of 10, now there may be a 6 or a 7.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So they can still get quite like for maybe an hour or two. I'm like, oh, but it reminds me of when I was like 13, 14,
Right.
just when you'd
Okay.
have, yeah, because my uterus is rejuvenated. It's
Okay.
back
We're
to where it was.
laughing because
But it's true.
okay, listen, don't give a woman something else to feel neurotic about it. Menopause.
All right.
Your vagina does not need to be rejuvenated. Your uterus does not need to be rejuvenated.
No, my
Well,
uterus
and
does
then in
not
your
need to be rejuvenated.
case, no. I mean, you just got restored to factory default. Is that
Yeah, factory default, exactly.
Yeah.
And then honestly, and usually as soon as I start bleeding, zero pain, and I bleed for like 2.5 days, maybe. Like sometimes before I would bleed for 10 days.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
I
why I would
remember
eat a ton of beef. Thank God we're from Alberta.
well, this is the other thing is the amount of anemia that happens because of fibroids, endometriosis,
Yeah.
adenomyosis, and medicine
Yeah.
having essentially a very weak response to that. The
Yeah.
number of women's stories I've heard about a hemorrhage with a birth process, and being sent home 12 hours after birth from the hospital with an infant, with a newborn, saying, "I know you're tired. It'll be fine. You'll get over it." Meanwhile,
Yeah.
5 years later, she's still anemic
Yeah.
and has a job and kids and taking care of elderly parents and the PTA, and yet medicine's response is, "Oh well,
Yeah.
we'll wait till it gets to really low before we do a transfusion or an
Yeah.
infusion of iron," is what they do. But
Yeah.
anyways, I digress. So I want to share a little bit of a story with you. I don't know if I've ever told you this story. It was the pandemic year, I think. So Aaron and I were heading out of town for a little vacation. It was the first time we went anywhere outside of town, during stuff and during the pandy year, as he calls it.
The
And
pandy.
the pandy, yeah, he calls it the pandy. That's the way we refer to it in this house because it doesn't like it just feels. I mean, that was such an icky time for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a little nickname we have. But anyways, the night before we left town, I had menstrual cramps that I've never had in my life, ever, ever. And I remember being on my yoga mat. Actually, I remember being the voice in my head, the not just this specific one, not all the voices in my head, but we can talk.
It's okay,
This is
Fiona. Crazy people talk to themselves.
one of the I was just told to go to my yoga mat. So I took, I think I started with cannabis for pain management. That didn't touch it. Then I went to Advil. That didn't touch it. And then I'm like, okay, I got to take a second Advil. That didn't touch it. This is not what my periods are typically like.
Yeah.
And so, and then I remember hearing the guidance was go to your mat. And so I did. I put out my yoga mat and I literally went into child's pose. And this is such a vulnerable share. I don't usually do this on the show. But, anyways, here we go. I wasn't even bleeding yet at this point. It was one of those things, which is also unusual for me.
Yeah.
My period was due like a day or two later, kind of thing. I started to wail and moan like I have never done. And literally, rage and grief poured out of me. And the reason why I'm bringing this story up is it was after the second Advil, sometime after the second Advil, things were finally controlled. But you weren't even able to access that. That pain management wasn't working for you, right? So this is a whole other level of pain that we're talking about. You like expert level pain. This is my little dinky pain over here. And I remember my husband being beside himself that I was so uncomfortable. I could just cry thinking about him now, just how he was just sat with me. And I've been through a miscarriage too, and he was the same way. He was literally right at my side. What can I do? And I like to think that there are not, I like to think that there are a lot of men that will be exactly like that when they hear the story, your story of pain. And how was your husband through all of this?
He was amazing. I remember one time because yeah, I mean, like, as we, newly married, but one of the times where I was sitting on the toilet because I had nowhere else to go because I was just bleeding so heavily, and I was just like in a fetal position, just like basically with my elbows on my knees, just leaning forward. He just came in the room and he was just like, he didn't know what to do. He was just beside himself and he was like, do I call an ambulance? What do I do? And I was just like, I don't even know. I don't know what to do, but I don't think calling the ambulance is the right thing. But I mean, yeah. And he was just so supportive. I mean, he would have obviously gone with me to China if, he could have got a visa in time. And just like, he's just been so supportive. And I mean, fertility and, women's health isn't just a women's problem. It's a relationship issue. It's a partnership. It's a whole family issue. So it's just, I mean, you've got to really be thankful that we're married to some good ones that really take care of us. Yeah.
Well, and it's not even a belief. I know that most of the men out there would be supportive of their partners in this situation. And like you have just described, Aaron was just beside himself with not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Right. And so, the answer is, well, honey, it's fine. I don't know what to do. Neither does medicine, right?
Like, to do it either. Yeah. Medicine doesn't know what to do. Ambulances don't know what to do.
No, this is 51% of the population. 51% of the population. And we haven't got this shit figured out. Give me a break.
No. Yeah. No.
Anyway.
It's ridiculous. And just so you know, the only thing that would actually control some of my pain to the point where I think I would just actually fall asleep instead of actually have the pain. I was taking 2,400 milligrams of ibuprofen.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I think an extra strength's what, 500?
Yeah. So like 5 times that.
Dude, I remember you getting.
My liver was not happy.
No, of course not. I remember you getting pain management while you were in Thailand for Christmas. I remember that, right? That's where that came from. Yes.
Yeah.
That
they were giving Arcoxia.
Okay.
Which is like an anti-inflammatory.
COX-2 inhibitor. Yep. Interesting. And I remember us talking about that and Googling it and all of that business. And just so you know, Vanda didn't start with she didn't go nuclear on it to begin with. There was a whole conversation, literally nuclear. There was many conversations about how do we do HRT to manage this. You
Yeah.
had one gynecologist give you estrogen, which is not a great idea for someone that has a
Yeah.
bleeding disorder, which essentially is what we're talking about here. And then it was
Yeah.
like, okay, let's get some progesterone in there. And then you got some progesterone, but you were given a small amount. I'm like, oh no, you need to bring out the big guns for this.
Yeah.
Remember? And you were like
Yeah.
trying to take the doses up
Yeah.
and to see, and it did
Yeah.
help somewhat, but I mean, God, it's like bailing out the Titanic with a thimble, right?
Essentially. Yeah. I mean, it helped to a certain extent. It helped me get through a couple of days, but like, yeah, I needed to go nuclear.
Yes, you did. Absolutely. You had suffered long enough, long
Yeah.
enough. Okay, so where can people find out more about you? Where can they watch the vlog again? And anything else you want us to know?
drvanda.com, drvanda.com. That's my website. Most links are from there. I have two YouTube channels, the Just Vanda one, and then also Dr. Vanda. So I'm pretty easy to find. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Vanda Corbett in the world. So I'm very, very easy to find. You know, when people tell you to not, Google yourself, but I do know I'm like the first 8 pages of Google when I Google my name. So I'm pretty easy to find. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not John Smith,
Yes. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It's a
Nope.
pretty good name. And then, so YouTube, Instagram's just Dr. Vanda. So if anybody ever has any questions, or like I said, I will answer every DM. Just let me know and I'll do anything I can to help you.
Thank you for that. Really, truly. This is how we get through this, Fan, is that we come together and we share resources. I'm so grateful that the Fuss Foundation people reached out to me and said, would you like to feature focused ultrasound on your podcast? And my brain went, what the hell is focused ultrasound?
What's focused ultrasound?
Well, and as a chiropractor, we use diagnostic ultrasound and therapeutic ultrasound regularly, right? But I've never heard of focused ultrasound. And so I did my research and thought, okay, well, this could be a treatment for some things that we don't have treatment for, like fibroids is what Dr. LeBlanc and I talked about, among other things. And so that's why I brought her on the show, is just to put a spotlight onto something that can be helpful for women. And I'm so grateful that they reached out and that I had a chance to interview her. And then when you had issues, that's what came to mind, was literally like, how can we, does this help? Go ask the questions. Like, is this helpful or not? And I remember getting that email. I emailed Dr. LeBlanc and Fuss Foundation and said, any chance anybody in Dubai doing work with focused ultrasound and adenomyosis? And they said no, but we got you there in the end, right?
Yeah.
So connections and networks, right? Please, ladies, if this is you, if you recognize yourself in the story that Vanda has told today about her journey with adenomyosis, or if you've been gaslit or shut down by your doctor, know you are not alone by any means.
No.
And I think one of the reasons why women's pain is tolerated is because there's an end date. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like women just say, doctors
you just got to get through menopause. You'll be fine.
Yeah. It could be a 20-year transition, but like this is what it means to be a girl. Like, go on.
Yeah.
Like you won the genetic lottery. I'm like, well, I'll take this any day. Anyways. It's a strange thing. So be the squeaky wheel and advocate for yourself, educate yourself. Here we are, the two of us, both physicians, talking about the fact that we didn't know what this was at all.
Never heard of it.
Exactly. Your doctor probably has never heard of it either. So
chances are, I heard a great thing the other day where chances are, if you have something a little bit obscure or rare, and I'm not telling everybody, I realize a Google search does not replace a medical degree by any sense of imagination.
No.
But if you do have something rare, like especially with your general practitioner, they have to know so many things about so many things. Whereas if you have something specific and a little bit off, kilter, find somebody who will work with you, and you will probably know more about your disorder than your general practitioner does. So just keep that in mind. Ask the right questions, and obviously a non-judgmental way. But if you got to go nuclear, go nuclear.
Yes.
But or find somebody else. That's
Yeah.
and don't. I've always said this for 21 years in practice. You are a consumer. Don't forget that. You are a shopper, you are a consumer, and your body is what you are essentially just taking care of. But healthcare, unfortunately, is a business, and you are the consumer. If you don't like the product that somebody is selling, find somebody else.
Yes, yes,
That's it.
yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
advocacy is probably the best thing you can have. And
Yeah.
this is true in Canada, anyways. Probably North America, I can say this, but I find that nurse practitioners are handling women's healthcare issues better than anybody else.
Mm,
And I don't know if it's because they're a newer profession, they're better able to pivot. They haven't necessarily always been accepted by the hospital systems, etc. And so they've had to find their way forward. And of course, most of them
right.
are women in peri-menopause or menopause. And so
Exactly.
it's like right there in front of you. You're like, let me
Yeah.
help the ladies, or let me help the ladies that are like me. And so advocacy. And thankfully, we live in an era of free information sharing. So find your favorite podcast and just get informed and walk in.
Yes.
Your doctor isn't any different than you. They just like they're spending their money on education. That's the only
Exactly.
difference.
They're just a much more expensive, educated guess. That's literally
Yes.
what's going on.
Yes, exactly. And a
Yeah.
good doctor will say, I don't know the answer,
Mm-hmm.
but let me find it for you.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But I
especially because if you ever go into anybody and they claim that they know everything, you're
forget it.
probably not in the right room.
No,
Yeah.
no. And by the way, I don't hear women say things like that, professional women. Do you?
Mm-mm.
No,
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 no.
I don't either. It's like a
It's not
fishing
coming from
story.
us.
Nope, definitely not coming from us. Okay, I have a final question I ask everyone on the show, and I'd like to pose it to you now. And it goes like this: knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self?
Good question. What would I tell my younger self? Number one, hang in there. It gets better. Number two, enjoy your youth and also enjoy um, not knowing what you don't know. And sometimes ignorance is bliss. But then at the same time, that like looking back, it is one hell of a ride, but I wouldn't change anything for the world. So just, you still got to go through what you go through.
That's so
Yeah.
inspiring. Thank you for sharing. Okay, you
Yeah.
constantly inspire me, and I just want to say,
Aw.
Dr. Vanda Corbett, thank you for coming on the show. I love you. Thank you for sharing your message. I'm just so grateful to have spent the time with you today.
Well, on behalf of all women, thank you, Fiona. You're the best.
Love you, sis.
Heart signals.
Okay, this is me. Yes, me representing Travis. Travis says, I love you, Taylor.
Aw, I love you too.
The information and other content provided in this show, or in any linked materials, is not intended and should not be construed as medical advice, nor is the information a substitute for professional medical expertise or treatment. We are doctors, but we aren't your doctor. Seek your doctor's opinion. If you or any other person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical treatment. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have heard in this podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. The opinions and views expressed on this page and in this show have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, health practice, or other institution. Thank you.